This VAWatchdog.org news video is brought to you by Bergman & Moore, LLC. Former VA attorneys now fighting VA for you. Call Bergman & Moore at 877-838-2889 or on the web at vetlawyers.com.
Well, it was a time when women were supposed to stay home and take care of the kids, but it was also wartime. And while military men were on the front lines of World War II, expectations of women on the home front changed as well. They were recruited to run factories, even recruited to fly military airplanes. They were called WASPs, Women Air Force Service Pilots. And while these women broke new ground serving their country, some of the WASPs say they were stung by criticism at home. KTXA reporter Seema Mather has their story.
B-25s. T-6s. Planes all familiar to the WASP.
It's a sweet airplane.
They are some of the remaining 1,074 female pilots who flew for the U.S. military at the height of World War II.
We did all kinds of things, tow targets, instruct instruments.
85-year-old Betty Jo Reed might need help getting in this plane today, but don't let that fool you. In 1943, she was an engineer test pilot. She knew the AT-10 inside and out.
Hang on to that one.
Once 87-year-old Jan Wood got settled, she was instructing the pilot up in the air.
Give me a slow roll, and then give me a point roll.
Despite the WASP's expertise on these planes, the program was discontinued in 1944, and the women were never recognized as part of the Army Air Corps.
And when I heard that, I just was so hurt and so discouraged because the war was still on. But the men were coming back from Europe, and they were complaining that women were flying their airplanes.
The social stigma went beyond the military. Elaine Harmon's mom refused to talk to her.
People sort of felt like the reason they did it was not because so much that they wanted to help out with the war. It was because they wanted to follow the men around. And I think my mother thought I was becoming a loose woman.
But humor aside, until changes in 1977, these women didn't even get military benefits.
They're going to fly by us as we're going out.
But this weekend is a reunion for the some 300 remaining WASPs.
Those were our flight suits. And some of them were size 52, you know.
Where Betty Jo laughs about the hand-me-down mechanic suits they wore, and pilots with a special bond hug and reminisce, knowing they've navigated to a special place in history.
Seema Mather, TXA 21 News.
Well, one of those barrier-breaking World War II pilots was 87-year-old Bee Haydu. She joins me live from Dallas. Congratulations, Bee.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's such an honor to have you with us. Tell me, why did you decide to do this? What created the interest during the war for you?
Actually, it came about because I wanted to further my education. I signed up for night courses. At that time, I was a secretary. And one of the courses was aviation. I decided, well, I guess aviation is really here to stay, so maybe I should look into this. Actually, the program was preparing you for a private pilot's license. And that piqued my curiosity, and I said, well, let's try flying, which I did. And all of this happened in 1943. At that time is when I learned about Jacqueline Cochran's group, which were the training program for the WASPs, and that involved a 7-month training program in Sweetwater, Texas at Avenger Field. And so I signed up, and I was very grateful to be one of the 25,000 who had applied for the program, and I was very grateful to be accepted.
Wow, and we're looking at your picture right now. Matter of fact, my director said you are one gorgeous fly girl, Bee.
Well, I didn't think so, but if he does, all right.
You'll take it. All right, Scotty, you got a fan there. So tell me, what did your mom and dad say to you? I mean, this was a time where, you know, this was kind of an all-man's world. Women just didn't do this.
I had a very progressive mother and father, And my brother was actually in Europe. He served there for over 4 years. And so they were really happy that I was going to participate and be helpful in the war effort. So I was one of the fortunate ones that had a family who was behind me.
Wow. And what do you think your biggest obstacle was? I mean, obviously you knew you were a good aviator, you made it through the program, but I know you went through a lot of tough times. What was the hardest part?
I would say going through the training was the hardest part. And you have to remember that really anyone can learn how to fly, but we had to learn to fly in the time that was allotted by the Air Force. And so I would say that that was the most difficult time, because of the 2,080 that were accepted in the program, only 1,074 graduated, which was approximately 50% of the class. So every time that you had to take a flight test, both a civilian flight test and an Army flight test, if you weren't learning at the speed they wanted you to, you could be dropped, what they called washed out.
Well,
I would say that was my most fearsome time.
Sure, and you obviously did not get washed out. What are you the most proud of? What's something you did as an aviator that you will just never forget?
Well, I think I'm most proud of having won my wings. I don't know if you can see them or not, but they have a diamond in the center, and it's not because diamonds are a girl's best friend. It's because that represents the Greek goddess Athena, who was the goddess of war and crafts, and so her shield is what is in the center of our wings.
Well, you are the goddess of the skies, that's for sure. So did you do any squirrel cages, hammerhead stalls, any fancy moves yesterday, Bee?
Well, no, not yesterday, because we flew in the B-25, and I don't think that they wanted to do that kind of a thing.
All right, we'll work on the F-18 next. How's that sound?
Oh, the F-22, please.
Okay, I'm going to put the request in for you. Absolutely. Hey,
thank you.
Bee Haydu, what an absolute honor and pleasure to talk to you, and congratulations for your flight yesterday and being honored. It's such an honor to talk to you.
Thank you very much, and I can't thank everyone enough for finally recognizing that there were women who did fly military aircraft in World War II.
We salute you.
Thank you.
VAWatchdog.org, the nation's #1 independent veterans website, on the web at VAWatchdog.org.